Hi, this is Tony with StuffSeniorsNeed.com, and I'm coming to you today with a video regarding debt forgiveness. I'm focusing on credit cards primarily, but it can really apply to anything. This is a topic that's obviously seniors are interested in, mainly due to the fact that they're on very fixed incomes, and by that I mean Social Security or pension. There's not a lot of income coming in. And then also, in addition to that, I'm going to be relating to you my personal experiences with this. After my mother had her heart attack, obviously there wasn't going to be enough money to pay the bills, so exactly what I went through in order to get those debts forgiven. So let's begin. I've talked before in videos regarding my mother and her heart attack and how that really wound up changing my life. Um, so in addition to dealing with Medicare, Medicaid, doctors, nurses, social workers, things of that nature, there was an unexpected problem for me to deal with, and that's my mother's credit card debt. She wound up having about $12,000 worth of credit card debt that had to be accounted for. And when Medicaid is done with everything, she was going to have about $50 a month. So there was no way she could even make the minimum payment on the credit cards. The minimums I figured out were about 250 bucks. So she was coming up $200 a month short just upon that. So I obviously was in a bind, but I wasn't sure, how to go about this. So the first thing I did was I contacted my local office of the aging. And that's really something that every senior should have on speed dial because that number is your first and best resource for help and for information out there. And what they did was they connected me to a local law college that had a senior law center. And, they are willing to take on what they describe as minor cases on behalf of those that are, have money issues. So what they did was they actually were able to write a letter to each of my mother's creditors asking that the debt be forgiven. In that, I put a cover letter explaining the situation. I got a letter from the nursing home explaining that, my mother was basically in a condition where she was not going to be able to medically, to take care of this. And I sent that out to all of my mother's debtors. And it turned out it was like 8 packages had to go out. And, they went out to the usual suspects: Visa, MasterCard, Discover, Walmart. And that was about a year and a half ago as I'm making this video, okay, April of 2012. So October of 2013, 18 months later, well, everything must have worked out because I haven't heard from anyone yet. So I hope that you can profit from my experience. And if you're a senior out there, a caregiver in a similar situation, here's what I think you need to do. First of all, you need to seek out an elder law attorney. Okay, preferably one who may work on a pro bono basis for seniors. Like I said, the first call I think should be to your Office of the Aging to see if there is a resource like I found for my mother. That starts the debt forgiveness process. Now, with that letter, put together a complete package, just like I did. Explain the situation. I got a letter from the business office at the nursing home as well as her doctor. And ultimately, here's what's going to happen. When a creditor such as a Walmart receives this type of information, they're just going to write the balance off as bad debt. I mean, with all the PR problems that a Walmart type has, do you really think that they want to be dealing with a collection agency coming after, somebody in a nursing home? So obviously, that's a feather in your cap. That's something you got to remember. And I used it, and it worked in my instance. So the above will probably end up working well for seniors, looking for that type of debt forgiveness. However, what if you don't have a medical issue like my mother had? What do you do then? What do you do if you've overextended yourself? Is there a way to seek out some type of debt forgiveness in that respect? And the answer, unfortunately, is it's not clear cut. The answer is maybe. What you're going to be doing, attempting, okay, I'm going to admit to you, it's not going to be easy. The reason for this is when you sign up for a credit card, okay, you're agreeing to pay the bill. It's a legally binding contract. You have an obligation to pay. And that means the credit card company is really under no obligation to change the terms or to forgive the debt. However, these are some options, besides bankruptcy, of course, that you could consider. First is to see if you can negotiate new terms for the debt. You're going to look to set up something known as a workout arrangement. And the best time to do that is when you realize there's a problem right up front. So get on the phone with them, explain what the situation is, see what you can do. Next, offer a lump sum payment. This might not be possible for everybody, but if you've got cash in a savings account and you owe $10,000 on a bill, see if they would accept a $5,000 buyout in exchange for eliminating the debt entirely. It is a tall order, but credit card companies have been known to do this as opposed to a customer such as yourself declaring bankruptcy and having to lose the entire debt then. A forbearance. Now, a forbearance is basically hitting the pause button on the debt. It's a finite period of time where you don't have to make any payments so you can get back on your feet. Everything in this is negotiable. So the amount of time, interest, whether it accrues, things like that, it's all really a matter of your negotiating skills and what the bank or the credit card company is going to be willing to do. But I don't want to put this out to you without explaining what the downside of going for a debt forgiveness can be. And there are a lot of potential problems. The first, as you might imagine, even if you get the Visas and the MasterCards of the world to go along with this, there are going to be some negative repercussions. First of all, your credit's going to take a hit. That's obvious because you're not making the terms and you're not meeting the terms and conditions that you were promised for in the first place. Now, in some instances, like my mother, I really don't care what her credit score is, and she doesn't anymore either. But the whole thing is, if you're not in her position, you might. So you need to know that. Secondly, this debt forgiveness could be considered as income by the IRS. Okay, creditors and debt creditors who agree to accept at least $600 less than the original balance are required by law to report it to the IRS. Now, once again, I don't think I'm going to be having any issues with that because, my mother's on Medicaid. But it is something that you need to be aware of because this is something that could come back down the road to bite you. So I want to do my very best to, put as much information out there as possible. I hope that this helps you. This is Tony with Stuff Seniors Need, and I will see you next time. Take care.